Venus in the second house, value and security. Welcome to Venus in the second house in Synastry. In this overlay, we explore what happens when one person's Venus falls into another person's second house, the house of material resources, personal values, self-worth, and what one considers truly their own. This is a grounded and often generous overlay. It does not announce itself dramatically. Instead, it settles in quietly, bringing with it a sense of comfort, material ease, and an underlying message that the house person is valued, not just emotionally, but concretely. The second house is concerned with what we own, what we earn, what we enjoy in the physical world, and, at a deeper level, what we believe we deserve. Venus is the planet of pleasure in all its vastness. Here, Venus is in one of the most personal of the 12 houses, a private territory of accumulated experience, taste, and deeply held conviction about one's place in the world. When Venus lands here, it casts a warm light over all of these things. The house person may feel a subtle lift in their sense of self-worth simply through their contact with the Venus person. From the Venus person's perspective, there is a natural generosity toward the house person. They may want to give gifts, resources, time, comfort. They find pleasure in contributing to the house person's material or emotional security, and this giving tends to feel natural rather than obligatory. There is often a real appreciation for the house person's relationship with beauty, material things, and what they value most. From the house person's perspective, the Venus person can feel like a source of abundance. This may be experienced literally, through financial generosity, beautiful gifts, or shared pleasures, or it may be felt in a more diffuse sense of being enriched by the relationship. The house person often feels more at ease with money, beauty, and enjoyment when the Venus person is around. At its warmest, this overlay supports a relationship in which both people feel materially and emotionally nourished. There is often a shared love of beautiful things, food, art, music, physical comfort, and a mutual enjoyment of sensory pleasure. The Venus person tends to affirm the house person's values and encourage a healthier relationship with their own sense of worth. This overlay also supports financial compatibility. It does not guarantee it, but it tends toward an ease around shared resources and a natural alignment in how the two people approach material life. Arguments about money are less likely here than in more conflicted overlays. However, there are dynamics worth tending. The house person may begin to associate their self-worth with the Venus person's presence, finding it difficult to feel secure or abundant without them. This is particularly significant because the second house governs self-sufficiency. When someone else becomes the source of one's sense of value, the lesson of the second house is being bypassed rather than integrated. True second house mastery is an inside job, and this overlay, at its most challenging, can quietly obscure that truth. The Venus person, for their part, may sometimes use material generosity as a way of maintaining closeness, giving gifts or money, where genuine emotional expression might be more honest. This is usually not manipulative, but rather a natural expression of Venus's tendency to love through pleasure and provision. There is also the possibility of overindulgence. Venus in the second house can encourage both people to enjoy themselves liberally, which is a gift, but one that benefits from some awareness. The desire to treat oneself and the other person well can, in certain dynamics, slip into excess. At its highest expression, this overlay helps the house person come into a more loving relationship with what they own, what they earn, and what they believe they deserve. The Venus person acts as a mirror for the house person's inherent worth, not as a replacement for it. When balanced, Venus in the second house creates generosity, sensory pleasure, and a sense of being deeply and materially cared for. When imbalanced, it can lead to dependence on external validation for self-worth or to the confusion of love with provision. Intrinsically, this overlay is about being valued and learning that abundance, in its truest form, begins with knowing one's own worth.
This was Venus in the second house in Synastry overlays. Thank you for listening. Next, Venus in the third house.